Howdy, 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 and welcome back to The Gardener. Today is May 18th, 2019, and welcome to the first long edition of the garden tour. Alright, let's get going. First off is the grapevine trellis. I did stick a 2x4 under there to keep it up because it was getting quite low, because this is getting heavier and heavier. So I kind of did that. We'll see how it holds up. It's just a standard studding 2x4, so it might hold up, but yeah, there we go. Alright, so then over here in the raised bed over here is just the chives. The flowers that I planted did not come back, neither did the lavender. That lavender did die and didn't come back. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm thinking I might make this into a more perennial bed. I'm thinking I might get some asparagus and plant that there. Maybe move the chives up forward so they can still get some light, and then put asparagus here and just kind of make this a dedicated asparagus bed. Mainly because we've been having a lot of bunny and groundhog issues, and I don't know, hopefully they will not like asparagus shoots. Who knows? We'll find out. Over here in the rustic raised bed, I've planted out my tomatoes here. So I have 3 different varieties. The lighter green ones back there are Makoto. I got the seeds from Hudson Valley Seed Bank, and they are supposed to be pretty good. I'll give you some more details later on, I think. And then over here from my local nursery, I got Sun Gold cherry tomatoes and black cherry tomatoes. I have had the black cherry tomatoes before, and they are quite good. The Sun Gold I've heard good things about. And then back here, I have one little row of onions, which I got from Starts. And then over here, I have some leeks, also I got from Starts. So they're doing good. The leeks are doing much better than the onions. Don't know exactly why, but we will carry on. Up here, in the lasagna type garden, that is how it started off, I have actually fenced this off a little bit, mainly because, again, I have a bunch of bunnies and they like to eat everything, all the things that we like here. Along the back I planted the cave beans, those little black and white bean guys, so they can kind of go up the trellis. Over here I seeded in some Black Simpson lettuce just the other day, so they haven't popped up yet. And then I transplanted some starts of Swiss chard right here just today, and I planted them in. And over here I'm going to be putting more leafy greens. I figure this little fenced off area will be good to keep the bunnies and such out of there. We will see. I mean, I have the green wraparound fence that I can kind of bring up into the front and kind of just pop here, so that will hopefully keep the bunnies away. And then I have, piecemealed the fence together. Over here in the other concrete bed, the garlic is doing fantastic. You can tell just how luscious and growing it is. I haven't put anything over here on this side yet. I'm trying to figure out what to put. I did transplant a cabbage, but that's not doing great. You can see here, I don't know if it's just not getting enough sun or if the nutrients there are kind of blah, because when I planted up the garlic, I didn't really top off this bed or anything. But, I'll figure out something there. I mean, I did pop a flower and whatnot there. Alright, moving forward to these beds here. The central bed, I did put garlics down this row along the back. Not garlic, onions. And up here are more of the leek starts. Again, I got those from a store, and then I planted some beans there, which I'm sure the bunnies will get to when they feel like it and eat it. Nothing up there as of yet. Over here in the weaved bed, I did end up putting more soil on this spot here. You can see the garlic back there. These guys are a little bit thinner than their garlic over there, because that spot gets a lot more light than this spot. But one thing you may have noticed in just the goings around here is I did take out the bathtub is actually over there behind the lilac, mainly just because this is where the groundhog was making a burrow, and I'm trying to dissuade them from, you know, living right in the garden. So I moved it, I took the soil, I topped this bed off, and that bed back over there. Over here, where I used to have my little extra bed here, I actually took that out, mainly because it really didn't do anything great. And this year, in this spot here, I'm thinking of just leaving this kind of barren or making a compost pile here. The reason being, again, this spot gets some good sun throughout the day, but not nearly as much. And I've been, you know, doing a lot of squash here, which is a heavy feeder. So I'm thinking I might just make a new compost pile here. It will be kind of like right in the garden, which will make it easier to kind of sift the things around and just kind of throw the clippings there. Not 100% certain on that one, but we'll see how it goes. Up front here, to these beds up here, again, a little bit more onion starts. Nothing quite in the middle, then some onion and little volunteer garlics that have clumped together from just when I planted garlic here like 2 years ago, which I might just leave and let kind of bulb up, and then I might just use those to kind of transplant, or I might move them out. I'll probably end up putting just flowers up here because of the bunnies, and the bunnies have just been terrorizing all the vegetables themselves. But up here, as you can see, this is more soil from the bathtub planter. I did put some sunflowers here, and the Shasta daisies have come back. And then my little tulip garden, the tulips haven't come back. I need to get more tulip bulbs, but in this corner up here, I got some irises. Irises bulbs that I got because they were like half off. So I'm going to try to revitalize this. There are some volunteer violets coming up. I think they're violets anyway. These guys right there, I think those are like wild violets or something like that. All right, right here in the front of the house is the like little flower bed here that I've kind of planted out, and they've done fairly well. You can see like right up front here, that's a bunch of daylilies. There's like orange ones, and I planted these guys I think 3 years ago, and it was all along behind the fence, which, so if I come over on this side here, you should be able to see how full it is. It was actually all sticking behind the fence at one point, and then after 2 to 3 years, I think this is year 3, they're starting to fill out the front, which is exactly what I wanted, because I just think it was kind of cool to have all those green ferns going up against the fence there, which I may have to either repaint it or try to replace part of that fencing, because I kind of like it. It's been there since I was like a little kid. But then up here I've just had more of the these are Shasta daisies, which keep coming back, and they're like doing gangbusters this year. I thought they were only supposed to like last like a year or two, but they've come back in full force. And then it's on either side of those is irises. These were all ones that I kind of liberated from the wild, we'll say. Basically, I kind of went around and I found some irises growing wild, and I just kind of grabbed them and planted them there. And along with more of the irises, the bulbs that I got here, is I just planted them all around here. They're a mixture of like the purple colors, and I think these ones are just straight purple. We'll find out when they bloom again this year. And then up front here, there are still just bachelor buttons that are popping up wild that I planted a couple years ago, and they just kind of keep self-seeding and keep growing. I did top this off with some compost that I got from my local landscaper. It's like a yard waste compost. It's actually fairly good quality so far. Not very weedy. All the weeds that you see are popping up were there from the prior year. Alright, right over here is like a little flower area in front of the blueberries. The daisies have bloomed already, and have already kind of like been done. and they're kind of spreading out, which is ideally. And then the plants that I planted a couple years ago from starts have kind of come back. And there's this center spot that I can put something else in, which I thought I put a perennial in there, but I'm not seeing anything pop up, and I don't quite remember which it is. As you can see, I still have to do some weeding on these guys just because I haven't been on top of that. But the blueberries are doing pretty good this year. You can see all the lovely little bill flowers, which will all turn into berries ideally. You know, the central one is doing good. The one on the right there is bouncing back after getting cut back from the damage from a couple winters ago. And then this guy is just long and stringy. I probably will need to cut this boy back, the lilac, due to, I think, kind of shading it out more. But that is a job for another day. So what was originally the strawberry patch for a couple of years, since it was fenced off, I threw some cabbages on either corner and then some beans either side there. Mainly just because, again, the bunny issues, and I'm tired of trying to fight with them as much, so little fenced off areas like this for the more susceptible plants seem like a good idea. Then over here in the H-bed type situation, I don't have a ton going on. There's some garlic that I kind of planted at the ends. And then along here in the strawed off area, there's some garlic that have popped up, the ones that I've missed, bits in here. But I have eggplant here. So we got 1, 2, 3 eggplant, which I think are more than enough spaced in the front there. And then over here, in this area, I have tomatoes again. The back ones are the black cherry and the sun gold, or vice versa. And then up here is the Makotos. I figured that kind of spaced them enough, and this is a super sunny area. And I don't think the bunnies and groundhog hopefully will not like the tomatoes as much. I've seen them bite them out, but I'm hoping for the best. Over here is some more leeks in this particular spot. And then back over there are, I think, more onion sets. Yeah, those look like the onions. And then over here, I did plant some radishes, which I think are popping up right now. And then all this here is the homemade compost, which I kind of topped off. I ended up kind of sifting the topsoil a little bit, just to try to get some more of the rocks out, because this seems a little bit more rocky. But it is what it will be. But yeah, this is that particular spot. Those of you who have followed me on Facebook will, you know that I kind of redid this little corner area garden. I put up the posts and put up better fencing, because between the roofers just kind of mashing it down and it not being particularly high, they just kind of did not really do the job of keeping the critters out. So this is where I'm keeping the more munchable, we'll say, vegetables. Up in the front there, I do need to fix the flower bed that's in front. But that's, again, everything's a work in progress again, due to my full-time job now. So a little bit less time than I've had in the garden. I did put up this fence, and it is super not great how I put this in, because I just basically took some wire from the bundle there, and that's my hinge. It's not fantastic, but it works. We'll find out, how durable it's going to be. Alright, so right in here is where the celery is. Started these guys from seeds. I did mix a load of compost into the soil and turned it in a little bit. I know, not very no-till, but low tillage. Because from what I've read, these guys are going to be heavy feeders. And then after I mix that into that area, then I topped it off with another straight layer of compost, about a wheelbarrow top coating, a wheelbarrow mixed in for this. And then over here is 5 cabbages, which are probably planted way too close. But yeah, these seeds here were all from the seed catalog, the Hudson Valley Seed Bank. They have some cool packaging. I'll show you a picture of them because they are pretty neat. They're all like organic and it's a local business, and I like them, and they have quality seeds. Over here, we have in this little spot here is radishes with the carrots mixed in, so you can have like radish, and then carrots mixed in with the radishes there, kind of marking the spots. And then in between these is beets, which I'm fairly certain that I've probably jammed them way too close together, as I usually do, but we will thin them out as need be. And then over here are more of the beans. I have, I think, green beans, and then like the yellow skin beans here, and then I stuck a cabbage there as well. I know that I've kind of made this area a lot more mulch than planting, but I figured it will make it a little bit easier for me to tend to these things. But I may try to shift these around because, as you can see here, I had beds through here, but then I forgot that the rain falls straight down because this roof doesn't have gutters, so it all just kind of goes whoop down, and it just makes grooves in there. So ideally what I might do is I might kind of like just do quick mulching here, and then just kind of let the beds kind of come back a little bit more, and I might actually take that mulch out, put more compost, and just make this like a whole planting type thing, if I'm going to try to optimize the space a little bit more. But this is kind of just how I initially set it up, and then I might end up having to do that just to kind of have more protected space. But yeah, I mean, I'm fairly satisfied with this area. We'll see how well the production is. This is like a mid-light type area, so it's like partially sun, because you can see right now it is shaded by the trees, which are quite large, and it's about midday-ish. So it gets some sun in the morning, then the sun kind of ducks behind like the house and this gets shaded for a little bit, but then from early to mid-morning it gets a good amount of sun, and then it will get some speckled sun for the light. And then what the sun does, it travels over there, kind of goes in this gap, so then it gets kind of reflected light from the house, and that seems to make them do okay. But tomatoes and other full sun plants don't do great there, so I try to kind of leave this as like more leafy greens. Alright, so in the trial bed area, I don't have a lot planted. What I did initially do is I always try to mimic things that I plant on one side as to the other, because this is the no dig, this is the dug side. I have some kale in the back there, and I put some extra celery, which I didn't quite space as evenly as I wanted, and then up in the front I put onion starts, which have, for whatever reason, just completely died. I have no idea why. I don't know if things are coming and munching on them, but they, like you can see, there's like 1 to 2 there that just kind of are living, but then on the no dig side, just they're just gone. Like you might be able to see the remnants of like 1, but yeah, unsurprisingly, the no dig side is full of weeds. I mean, the dig side is full of weeds, because just the soil disturbing and stuff just kind of kicks it up, so I need to get on top and doing the weeding. There are a little bit of weeds here in the no dig side, but again, not nearly as much. But yeah, so if you're more of a lazy garden, you have a good amount of compost you can use for no dig. It does work. Charles Dowling does it on his channel, on his garden I should say as well, and it actually works fairly well. You just have to have a lot of compost. Then over here in the sheet mulch method, I put a bunch of my peas along here because I didn't want to block out most of the sun here, and those guys are doing fairly well. I haven't seen any pea shoots yet, well, not pea shoots, but actually pea flowers. And hopefully the bunnies will not completely rage on them. They probably will. But yeah, then I have some romaine starts that I popped into there, and those guys are doing good. In the middle there, those little seedlings that you see, those are the mustard greens again. And then I put some more lettuce here, which they haven't popped up, so I don't know if that's bad seeds or just bad germination, because it was the seeds that I used from last year. I might just kind of resow them, but I do have some more starts. And then we have some more brassica, kale. There we go. Some more kale on this side. So, yeah, those are the trial beds there. Everything's kind of started off and doing well on that side. Alright, so in the containers here, I do have things planted out. Some of them haven't been planted yet, but the kale here is doing like gangbusters. All the kale that you've seen were all sowed at the same time, and they've just kind of been planted in different spaces. And for whatever reason, the kale here in this container doing fantastic comparatively to the others. Probably due to it being raised and being warmer, if I had to take a guess. And then there's a little bit of lettuce kind of thrown in back there, but they're just being shaded out. Over here in the hugel bucket, I sowed some turnips, and they're kind of starting to sprout up. And this middle one, I threw some seeds of squash of some kind. I don't recall which kind, but they haven't popped up yet, probably due to not being quite warm enough for them. Planted nothing in here. And then my eggplant in here. So I have the eggplant here, and then those three ones over there. I'm going to see how well it does comparatively. I have a feeling the one on the patio here, due to the concrete and the raised nature of the pot, will do well because it's going to be warmer. Over here, I planted radishes and carrots again. And it's actually kind of cool because I did like a little bit of a circle. Not quite a spiral, but like a smaller circle, then a larger circle. I've already gotten a handful of radishes from there, and then the carrots are doing well. I'm just going to see how well carrots kind of do here, because for whatever reason, I've not had huge luck with carrots. I've gotten some, and they've kind of like been little rinky-dinky ones, but, you know, I'm hoping that maybe if I do it in container, they might do better, and hopefully keep those critters away from eating them. And then over here, I do have some of my starts still here. So these are the Makokoto tomatoes that I started. I kind of just have backups in case the ones that I planted, because I planted them a little bit early. They've been some cool weather, so I was worried that I might kill them off just by that. So these guys are doing good. Some more of the celery. And then I have some flower starts here as well. Snapdragons, I kind of potted a couple of them up. I don't remember what flowers these are because I'm bad at marking them. Some more sunflowers. Then over here, I have the tomatoes that I got, the sun gold and the cherry. There. More flowers here, which are cosmos? No. I can't remember off the top of my head. If I remember, I'll put it on the screen or something. And then up here in this, I have recently sowed basil because I am an absolute, you know, love basil. And then up here on these little seed starts, I've started a bunch of different lettuces, and you might be able to see that little tiny guy. Right, come on, there we go. Focus, focus. There we go. So it's super tiny. I don't know if you can see that. But a bunch of different lettuces there, more romaine, and some, I think like the red sail leaf lettuces there. So yeah, I have stuff to kind of pop out on that. But yeah, that is basically what's going on in the garden right now. Alrighty, folks, thanks for watching. Do the like, subscribe, share thing that y'all know how to do. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.